Welcome to Mastermind 2023. It's the Women Leaders Special powered by Nucleus Office Parks. Now, the core idea, guys, is to interview dynamic ladies who power their companies, handling crucial roles and drive growth as well as value for employees as well as partners. So we're talking CEOs, marketing heads, HR leads, group sales heads, corporate communications heads, CSR leaders as well as strategy leads who are all ladies. There's never been a better time than now for gender diversity and inclusion in India Inc. And ladies like my guest today are at the forefront of this change and movement. Normally I only say singer-songwriter, music composer, but this is one with a difference and I'm really excited for this. Ananya Birla, founder Swantantra Microfinance Private Limited. The organization makes small loans to women entrepreneurs based in rural India. They've maintained a quality loan portfolio offering one of the lowest interest rates in the country. She's also founder CEO of Ikai Asai, an inventory-based global luxury e-commerce platform. She launched the Ananya Birla Foundation in 2020 with a COVID-19 relief project that involved providing menstruation kits, PPE kits, protective equipment to women and hospitals across Maharashtra. The foundation also worked in providing essentials to migrant workers during the pandemic. She's co-founder and vice chairperson Empower, the mental health initiative, and director at Aditya Birla Management Corporation Private Limited. Wonderful to see you.
It's always nice to see you, and this is in the other avatar of mine, so I'm extremely happy to be here.
And thank you for saying yes, because I know music is such a primary passion for you that I just have to mention it and you say yes, but I wasn't quite sure. I said, does she want to talk about her businesses or not? But I know that your love for Radio 1 brought you here.
I love Radio 1 for multiple reasons. One, you guys are amazing. But I say this in every interview with you guys, is that Radio 1 supported me when no one else did, very, very initially. So I'll always remember that no matter what. So big thank you, genuinely.
Yeah, and you'd be pleased to know that one of our focus areas from here on is to do more business. Because we realize that all radio stations are only talking entertainment and playing music. The Bollywood guys are playing Bollywood, playing music. We are playing English, we're talking music, which is a great thing. But there's a huge lacuna for something like a CNBC TV 18 to happen on radio.
Yeah, absolutely.
And a couple of us are really passionate about entrepreneurship and business. We understand business. And we said, now's the time to actually try and do more business content.
Absolutely. I think, of course, I would say yes, because it's the other half of what I love. I don't talk about it very often because maybe I feel like it's too close to home, maybe. But I've realized that the more I talk about it and the response I get from people, it seems like they want to know more about it. And so thanks to all of you, I feel like I should talk about my work in the business space more. And also in 2024, we're launching a couple of really cool consumer brands. So I'm super excited about that as well.
Lovely. Okay, I'm going to start at the top.
Yes.
Why did you pick microfinance as your first venture?
Okay, so I was 17. I was in American school and I was beginning to homeschool because I wanted to try to get into Oxford at that time and do my A-levels, which I didn't know which school was providing. And we had like a microfinance club. I remember coming back home and telling Mom, I want to start a microfinance company. I think it came from two places. One is this innate guilt that I have of being born in privilege, and how can I possibly contribute to financial inclusion in our country. That's number one. And number two is that many women around me, right, adult women around me, I personally felt like were unable to stand up to society or make their own decisions because they were not financially independent or financially self-sustainable, and so I decided that I wanted to be a part of that journey for other women, and that's exactly what we do at Swantantra. So when people say, it's a CSR initiative, well, it's not, because we're just providing them with a product. In an inbuilt service, the product that a bank is unable to provide because they don't have a physical collateral to give us. So we're still just giving them a loan. They have to repay the loan with principal and interest. So they're doing all the work themselves. All we are doing is providing a product that a bank may not provide. So it's like banking the unbanked is what we do as Swantantra. So from starting I remember the first loan we gave of 10,000 rupees to now being the second largest in the country with a portfolio of we'll touch about 25,000 crores. It's been a lovely, lovely, lovely journey full of ups and downs. And I feel like Swatantra has made me Swatantra in many ways. I have a great team. They're more like family now to me. So it's been a beautiful journey.
I'm very fascinated by mergers and acquisitions also because we were part of a big merger.
Yep.
If you know, just around the pandemic, we were acquired by Hindustan Times.
Yep.
Big change for us. We were a part of a smaller group. We were part of the Midday. Our promoter at the time decided to, sell his stake, opt out. It involved moving to this particular building where we sit now, new office, new space, sharing a few resources because that's what mergers and acquisitions are. I mean, a promoter will buy you only so he can cross-pollinate stuff.
Synergies.
And synergies. So I saw it firsthand, at least in my business, which is the radio business. And now everybody's been talking about your recent acquisition of Chaitanya FinCredit, which obviously you did because you wanted to propel Swatantra, which is your first venture, to become bigger and larger. And I'm given to understand that this will make it the second largest microfinance organization in India.
Yeah.
So why Chaitanya? Why the timing? Why now?
Yeah.
Talk about that.
So the microfinance industry or the NBFC space, has in that category has never seen this sort of a transaction, an acquisition before. So of course it's a huge risk. I remember my MD coming up to me and saying that there's this opportunity for Chaitanya and it's completely confidential. And I said, I went through a couple of papers and it just made sense. It was expensive. It was 1,479 crores, which is a lot of money. But what we were getting was multifold. One is the processes that Chaitanya has are probably the best in the industry. So in terms of NPAs, in terms of discipline on field, in terms of pure microfinance, pure lending, they are probably the best. For them timing worked as well because their AUM was, their GLP was sort of the growth kicked in after the COVID wave, so they were able to control the NPAs a little bit better. The team is fantastic at Chaitanya as well. Also geographically it made sense because so we are across all across India, at about 19 states now, and they are very concentrated in the south. And I had purposely not entered the south because back in 2010 I think there was this whole crisis that happened in AP, and it, sort of the entire industry was blacklisted. So at that time itself, I said, it'll be better if we acquire in the future we acquire a company that's already doing well there. So it makes a lot of sense for us for multiple reasons, as I mentioned. And most importantly, I think the cultures fit together very well, and that can become a huge. Because at the Aditya Birla group as well, we've seen so many mergers and acquisitions. Now that I'm part of the group as well and on the board of a couple of companies, and I've seen it firsthand. Of course, I've heard stories from my father as well. Culture and values of two organizations coming together, it can really make or break. So things like, it can be the smallest of things, right? Like, what do we focus on when we're at work? Do we, how much of authenticity is celebrated? How are people rewarded? What do the promoters stand for? And all of those things and our values in general just really fit in. So more than, of course, technically it's an acquisition, but I like to see it as a marriage of two individual entities that get along really well, that'll have a fantastic future together.
Yeah, that's very well put. Acquisition sometimes is a very hard word.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah.
Also, I didn't want my team at Chaitanya to feel like we're like.
Yeah.
That's not the point. The point is that we're just coming together and we're taking on the best practices from both entities. The IT piece, for all of you IT geeks, the IT piece is it's a big challenge because the customer base is huge. The processes are so detailed across the board. So finding common SOPs and then integrating that through our LMS, LOS, it's a little bit choosing which system to use. So right now we're like Microsoft or Google. So one side is fighting for Microsoft, one side is fighting for Google. I'm supposed to be neutral, so I'm like, let's just write down the specs, see what's working, and make a decision.
Yeah, because if they feel they're in a collaborative partnership space, it fosters work and communication.
Yeah.
The last thing you want is somebody from top management going and saying, oh, we bought you.
Exactly.
Get used to our culture, things like that.
But honestly, would love to talk with you more later to understand what you think the merger that you all went through, what could have been smoother, what went off well, because then I would love to implement it within
That's lovely. We must have a chat on that.
Yeah.
Your professional growth story, an ingredient that you think really made you who you are professionally today.
But the guilt that I have, it's less now, but the guilt that I had while growing up really propelled me because I felt like I had to prove to myself that I'm worthy of being born in privilege. And that also came with, but I want to build things right from scratch by myself without the support of my father or my mother or the family name to whatever extent possible. Because I wanted to sleep in peace knowing that, feeling good about myself, feeling like I've done this on my own merit, on my own, it's like to give you a simple analogy, it's like when you write an exam, you want to study for the exam yourself and write the exam, because then when you get the marks, you feel like, oh wow, if someone else writes the paper for you under your name, what's the fun? For other people, it's like, yeah, you have a certificate, but the knowledge is not yours. You don't feel that confidence or that purpose, from within. And that was really, really important for me to have. So whether it's with my music or whether it's with my businesses, multiple times, my father, of course, because he's so protective, says, no, I can call. I'm like, no, please, I don't want you to make any calls. I want to go through this and do this my way. And so far, and he's proud of me for that, I guess. And I think for me, I'm not saying there's anything wrong if a father does that, because that's the point of having family. But for me, this was the right way, and this is the right way to go about doing things.
So please don't name any organization, just generically speaking, gender biases, if you faced any.
There's no need to have like a stigma around it. It is what it is.
Yep.
So even when I'm sitting in board meetings, now I'm seeing a difference, but I used to be the only girl sitting with men in their early 40s, and I was in my late 20s. So I try my level best. It's not about it's about equal opportunity, right? So in my leadership teams, I try to keep it a 50-50 split. So at Swantantra as well, we have 2 men and 2 women right at the top, so HR, finance, and operations and MD. So it's a it's more about energies than actually gender for me. I think it's women can be more can have the softer it's so tough for me to talk about this, because again, so being completely honest, my family has been so supportive of me that I personally have never had that struggle with my close family. So I almost feel a little hypocritical talking about it, because I haven't really experienced it. They've always made me feel like my granddad used to say before he passed away, that she's going to beat all the boys. And now I'm like, it's not about beating the boys, it's about having having equal opportunity. Yeah. And so in my own way, because I see other women going through it, I try to give equal opportunity. And that's not just in terms of gender, that's in terms of when it comes to the LGBTQ A plus community, that comes to diversity in terms of cultural diversity from all people from all around the world.
94.3 Radio 1